Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited today to be doing a reaction video on liberal versus conservative lesbians. Super excited to do this because I was a lesbian and also I wore my flannel, just so you know, in respect to my old school lesbian days. So with that, I just want to say thanks so much, you all, for really liking, subscribing, helping me push this channel forward. Having these conversations are very important to me. I'm saddened every day by what has happened to this community, especially specifically the trans space. It's not good. It's nasty on so many levels. But anyways, I just want to let you know that I picked some spaces from this particular video that I feel like I can respond to right now. It's such a long video. I think I'll possibly make a first half here because I don't want to make this too long, and then I can create another one and pick out some talking points. There's so many that I wanted to respond to, but I think these first three or so that I picked are good ones to start with. So with that, let's move forward and watch the first reaction here, and this is going to be quite fascinating. This one actually fascinates me, so here we go.
Include more people.
Okay, I could keep going on with that one, but so lesbian. What is the definition of a lesbian? The actual definition of a lesbian is same-sex attracted. That is actually what a lesbian is. Now, I also saw maybe somebody new added this to the definition, same gender attracted. So, and I know why they're doing that, so that, because people can choose their gender, and then that means you can choose to be a woman, and then that means you're the same sex as the other. I see everything that's going on there. That's manipulation, and that's not honest, because they are not biological women. I'm specifically talking about trans women right now. Trans women are not women. They're trans women. So can a trans woman be a lesbian? She can say she's a lesbian, but in actual truth and reality, she's not a lesbian. And I'm calling her she out of respect there. Now, because it can get very diluted and confusing. And I really do think on some level they're trying to make this. Now, I want to specifically take this talking point here of this young person saying that they identify as a non-man, or is it not? I wrote it down, non-men or non-man, something like that. What? Wait a minute here. So you identify as a non-man, okay, that's fine, but you're still biologically female, whether you like it or not. And you could be a lesbian because you're an actual female. So you can identify however you want. That doesn't make you what you are. I'm going to use me for an example. I identify as a male, as a man. I'm not a man. I am not a man. I am a transsexual man who happens to be a biological female. Could I identify as a lesbian? Yes. I actually could identify as a lesbian because I am a biological female. And even many lesbians have told me that. They don't have an issue with me identifying as a lesbian, though I never would, because I don't think it's respectful. I don't believe that you can be a he, him lesbian. I just don't. And that's, again, my opinion. Why would you want to do that? So I want to give you a little backstory here real quick about my own life as a lesbian. When I transitioned 30 years ago, these same lesbians were pissed at me for trying to stay in the lesbian community. I did. I tried to stay there because I was sort of learning my steps and where to go. But I really then realized that I am not in the lesbian community anymore, and I respectfully removed myself from that space. I also want to let you know that I had girlfriends who were identifying as lesbians and could no longer date me. I went through a couple girlfriends during my transition time. It makes sense to me. It hurt my feelings, but I got it. They're like, look, I'm a lesbian. I'm attracted to females. You don't look like that anymore, and you're not a female to me anymore. So I really need you to understand, I have a lot of history with this, and this is not new. This has been happening forever, since transitioning of females to males, and we've lost our space in that community. And I think all the trans guys I know, they were very respectful of it, and they removed themselves from it as well, because why would we want to do that? Why would we want to go into a space that, first first off, we're not welcome. And also, we chose to transition to live our lives as men. Sometimes you're just going to have to deal with losing space when you do that. So this person's idea of we have to encompass and everyone should be able to join in, that's not true. And that is actually very dangerous when you think everyone and anyone belongs in any space. I 100% disagree with that. Lesbian space is for women and women only, and women who are same sex attracted. Okay. So that being said, if some lesbians want to be cool with he, him lesbians or trans women lesbians, that's totally okay. That's over there. But let's talk about the big picture. You can't redefine the definition of something that's already in use by a lot of women who really need that space. And so this non-man thing. What is that? That's again this sort of trickery with words so that you feel off balance and you can't sort of define what this person is. This person is a biological female who is deciding to identify as a non-man. As far as I'm concerned, that still means on some level that you can be a lesbian. But the manipulation of words, and I see what's going on here. It's just a lot. And I don't understand why we have to redefine lesbian to include men. That's just ridiculous. Women have fought too long to get their spaces. And I know because I was in that space, and I respectfully remove myself from that because it's not cool. And I don't look and I don't act and I don't walk the world as a female anymore. And so I really do consider myself male. It'd be rude to be in that space. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Okay, so I noticed that this one person keeps saying that we have 500 million laws being passed. Well, I'm exaggerating, 300 or 600 laws that are now being addressed, presented to in this country against LGBTQ people. But when people ask for those laws and tell us exactly what they are, they cannot give them to you. This is typical of that side. They always say, we're under attack, we have a genocide. Well, okay, I would love to see. Trans kids are going to kill themselves. Where? I mean, it's horrible if that's happening, but I'm going to be the first one to tell you that I don't think that is happening. Don't you think we'd all be hearing about it? Don't you think we'd be hearing about a ton of kids offing themselves? That's not happening. You can say that might happen, but they're saying that in order to gaslight parents into doing this transition. So when these people, again, of course, are bringing up trans kids, of course, and they're all under attack, and we should all be upset. We are upset that these kids should have some kind of medical intervention without any understanding of the long-term effects. You know my stance on trans kids. You all know that. But here we are. They always use this as the basis of we're under attack. No, we're not under attack. And the conservative side is constantly telling you, I don't feel under attack. I feel like I have a perfect... The liberal side is telling you, we're under attack. Everything is against us. And so, again, I come from such an older space where I can tell you we were actually under attack. And today I can tell you that I can walk the world so free. But then the other people are going to tell you I have privilege, which I also find to be quite... disingenuous on some level, because whatever you think my privilege is, you don't know the shoes I've walked in or where I've come from. Yeah, I'm white. There's no doubt about that. But does that just give me this privilege to just have nothing against me and have no hard way of living my life? That's why I have a problem with this word being thrown at us all the time. We have privilege. You don't walk the world the same way I do. You don't walk the world the same way I do. So how do you even know what I have as a privilege or a non-privilege? This idea of bills being, and that we're all under attack and that the world hates us. Well, we need to take some responsibility for that today, because that's happening because we are doing some really disingenuous stuff that is making people very upset and very pissed off about what's going on in this community towards them out there. As you all know, I take it from all sides. They don't like me over here, they don't like me over there. But, what can you do? That's the way it is. And I don't really care, whatever. So let's move on to the next clip here, and I'll react to that. Now, Genital preference. You see, again, the manipulation of words. A lesbian is somebody, a woman, who is attracted to another woman. Period. Period. I am a biological female. That is a biological male. Do you know that we also have different way that we interact in the world? I was socialized as a female. I have a different way than a biological male, whether you want to believe it or not. Same with a trans woman. They have been socialized male. They come to this space in a different way than a biological female does. I don't know why this is such a difficult conversation. And if also, I want to let you know this, if somebody has a preference, whatever you want to call it, just let them have that preference. Why are you shaming them for their preference? And why are you telling people specifically who and how to love or be attracted to? That is coming from the liberal side, telling us we have to be attracted to you or else we're bigots or trans. No, I do not. And nor does any woman out there ever have to be attracted to anyone. That's misogyny at its finest. Telling women who they have to be attracted to and telling women that they have to accept certain types of people into their space. No, they do not. Do you know how long women have been fighting, including me, for women's rights to have their own space? Just because a biological male decides he wants to live as a woman, which again, I always tell you, good for you, go for it, do it. But you cannot come out of that living in some kind of fantasy world and expecting everyone to be okay with it. Listen to the women. Listen to what they're saying and stop trying to erase them, because this whole thing, if you notice, is really hardlined on women. Women's sports, women's bathrooms, women's spaces, what makes you a woman. We're not talking anything about male stuff. This is the part that's starting to really get on my nerves because it's not cool. Let women have their space. I'm sorry you're a trans woman and you can't deal with who you really are, but that means you need to go figure that out on your own and not be pushing on other people to accept you because you can't accept yourself. And that's where it comes from. So thanks for watching. I really do appreciate you all so much. And I think we just really need to keep pushing back on this stuff. And we need to really start having these conversations and more honest conversations around this. And I think this could be an opening to it. I'm not sure. It just, again, felt very much like there's just no bridge building. It's all one way or the other. And that's a shame. So thanks again. Like, comment, subscribe. Please send this to people. I super appreciate you all. And remember, I wore my flannel just for you. Have a great day and I'll talk to you all later.